All right, now you're good. Hello, everyone. We are Strategy 2, talking about students and teachers. This is Zuri Hunter and Caitlin Bott. And thank you, Caitlin. Here's an overview of what this strategy is about. So really, we're focusing on student voice and choice during the instruction because it's very, very important and it connects directly to our CRE mindset of high expectations. So we want students to take accountability for their own academic success. So there will be some teacher takeaways from this strategy. It would be, first of all, learning how to get your students to own their own learning. Second thing you'll be learning is student choice in the end product. And the last thing you'll be learning is how to access the Lion database for your school. I have a short video for you that I'd love for you to watch. And it just talks about how to get students to own their own learning. Thank you.
We know that it's important to move from compliance to student engagement, but what happens when we take it a step further and empower our students to own their learning? Well, here are 7 ideas. They fall in love with learning by finding joy in pursuing their passions and geeky interests, and in the process they learn how to research and curate and communicate. They embrace a maker mindset as they walk through a design process and launch their work to the world. They develop iterative thinking, viewing mistakes as a chance to learn. And this leads to a shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. They become self-starters, exploring new frontiers, asking hard questions, and trying new things. They become problem solvers and systems thinkers, but they also challenge the system as hackers who think divergently and rewrite the rules. They become architects of their own learning, engaging in project management and collaboration. A.J. Giuliani puts it this way: our job is not to prepare students for something. Our job is to help students prepare themselves for anything. In other words, when we empower our students, they are able to own their learning forever.
All right. When looking at our CRE connection, our culturally responsive mindset in DPS today is high expectations. We're looking to maintain consistent and clear high academic expectations for all students. Today, our focus is going to be on our DPS Practice 1, engaging students in rigorous, engaging, and differentiated tasks and activities with a comprehensive knowledge of content area and curriculum. Our 2 key actions are Key Action 1, which allows students to participate in the design of tasks that align to expectations, and our Key Action 3, which is presenting tasks that have high cognitive demand and include multiple solution strategies or viewpoints and representations.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're okay. Oh, I think I skipped a slide.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is our independent work time. So there are 2 things you can do. You can follow with us, and we will show you how to log into DPS databases. We can also brainstorm with you of how to have your students present in Flipgrid or Jamboard or even Seesaw. Or you can work independently. Just remember, during your independent time, you should be looking for lessons that you can work on to integrate like some of your students presenting their work to their own peers. You can also, we have some links for you to watch, some YouTube videos. And if you haven't logged into Flipgrid or Seesaw, this would be a great time to do that as well. We will return back to our main room at 9:20. So if you'd like to stay with us, we are going to do some follow-alongs with us to get onto the DPS database.
All right. So first, we're going to start off with a little bit about why these DPS online databases are so valuable for you and your students. And then we're going to start going into a little bit more about the various different databases that you can explore. And down below, I do want to bring your attention, once we're done with the video, feel free to click on these links to see a summary of each database and what each database includes. And then also another video that talks about how DPS databases supports elementary instruction. So let's watch this quick video and looking at the value of these databases for our students.
Welcome back. Now that you have had a chance to evaluate a resource that your students might use when doing online research, let's take a look at an online database and use those same 6 questions to determine if it's a quality learning resource that you would want to use with your students. For this evaluation, we will use Britannica Middle School. This is an article about Mae Jemison. The first evaluation question again is the content easy to read? You can see that it is very visually clean. There are no advertisements and no links that lead to online stores. There are links within the text to have students dig deeper or learn more. Britannica also organizes information at the tabs at the top. The second question is the content written at an appropriate reading level for my students? So in this case, this is a database that is geared towards middle school students, and this is content written at that level with a few varying options. The third question is the content able to be read aloud? For all of our databases, they have a read aloud feature. For Britannica, you can click on the Listen button.
Mae Jemison, informe Carol.
Question number 4 is, can the content be translated into other languages? In this case, the content is available in other languages by clicking the Translate button and choosing the language you would like to translate using Google Translate. Question 5 is, the content created by a reliable source? Yes, this content is all created by Britannica. And the reason why Denver Public Schools subscribes to the database is to be able to provide students with reliable and current information that can be trusted. That final question, which is the information up to date? Again, that's another great function of our database, as they are continually updated and revised through the companies to make sure students have the most accurate and up-to-date resources. Now it's your turn, take 2. Think about that same unit or content area that you did a Google search on and choose one of our middle or high school databases to do a similar search for information. At the conclusion of this video, you will click on the link Evaluating Online Databases, and it will walk you through that same framework of 6 questions so that you can determine, is this a quality learning resource that you think would meet your students' needs?
Alrighty, so now that we've kind of seen a little bit of that value of the databases for our students, I want us to take a look at the summary of each database here. So let me switch my tab, open this up.
Make sure it's on that side too.
Let's see.
Yeah, now you go.
All right, so if we take a look at this, all of our databases that we have available, it's really amazing to see from this link what each database kind of is there for our students. So if you take a look, starting at pebblego, you can see what grade levels they're associated with. Pebblego is typically a early elementary K-2, looking at helping learn those foundational research skills. Then we move into our Britannica fundamentals, looking at that ACE through 2. Then we go down. I'm not going to read you each one, but it is pretty awesome because a lot of these databases have a second form of the database in which you are actually able to see it in both Spanish and English. So for example, Britannica Escolar is a database that is available for students to be researching in Spanish. And then we get into those higher grades, that middle and high school, which obviously is not for our viewpoints, but also pretty awesome for us to know that these are all available for our students. So I'm just going to click into one of the tabs so you can kind of take a look and see the availability for our students. Let's see. Hold on. So if you take a look here, I just clicked on pebblego. Just a little bit of information. Let's say that in just a few minutes, when you're going to be doing some of your own independent research, you're looking for what students could be researching. Let's say that you're going to be talking about researching animals' habitats. This is a great place for students to be able to come in here, looking at both the English and the Spanish version right here for you. Clicking into animals, looking at what animals available, etc. And I'm going to click into amphibians. And you can take a look at all the various different types of amphibians that are available on this website. So pretty much when we're looking at this research option, just pebblego in particular, it allows for students, especially K-5, to be able to research information that is accessible to them, accessible to their reading level, available in a like questionable format, like as if students were just observing and researching on Google. We know that sometimes the information that students can gather from Google is not always accurate and accessible to our students. So this is a pretty awesome option for students to be able to do some research. Let's take a look here. So again, just taking a look today, we would love for you to be able to explore all of these different options for students to do some research for future assignments.
Thanks, Caitlin. I'm going to go to the next slide. This is our one-on-ones. We have our ed tech team has created all-in-ones for every single digital tool that we support. So if you have our link to our slide deck, and if you hover over each tool, you'll see a link that goes to our all-in-one. So this is a really great place to start if you don't know a lot about the tool or if you want to know more about it.
So one of the biggest parts about what we're looking at today is obviously making sure that students feel empowered in their learning so that they can be able to teach each other what they have learned through research, through accessible information, etc. So what Zuri was just showing us for our student product platforms, we're talking about some of our most accessible options for students to be able to do some research using our DPS databases and then presenting their information that they've gathered using one of these platforms. One of the things that our ed tech team did is we created videos, screencastifys, of each one of these platforms that are on here. These ones are a little bit more complex, a little bit more time intensive. And so we have created videos that show how students can access these materials or these platforms when they are presenting any information to the class.
Thank you. There's two on here at Edpuzzle because I did part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is where I'm showing you as a teacher how to log in, what it's going to look like for you. And then part 2 is what the students will see. So they can directly go into Edpuzzle, record from Screencastify, take their Screencastify video, plug it into Edpuzzle, and create their own presentation.
Some of the other coaches, including myself, did videos, like I did a video on Kahoot, a little bit about Pear Deck, about how to allow for the students to be able to access these platforms pretty readily. Each one of these goes through step-by-step instructions. Feel free, if any of these platforms are ones that you want to use with your students, you can just show them the video and go step-by-step so that they can see those instructions there for them. So in just a few, we're going to give you some time now for you to be able to explore the databases. Again, on slide 36, we have links to those databases. Each one of these icons on the left-hand side is also linked. So feel free to click into those, kind of take a look at some of the databases that I know a lot of us have not explored before. Thinking about lessons that you can have students start to do some research and then find a platform that they can present their information to the class to become those leaders in the classroom. During this time, if you have any questions, of course, we'll be here to help you. But at this point, feel free to kind of take this independent work time to explore the databases and find a platform for an end product. And then we will come back at about 9:15 to do a little bit of regroup and debriefing together. Do you want to do it? I can do it.
Yeah, yes. All right, so we are coming back to regroup. I would love to know what's a lesson that you worked on where you're going to design and give your students more ownership of their learning. I'll give you some wait time, or if you'd like to, you can also type in the chat. Also would love to think about, or would love to hear about what some of the tools that you learned about today. Like, is there any new things that you learned? Something that you want to kind of dive more in depth to?
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming to our strategy 2. We really appreciate it. And thank you for all of your thoughts and just being here and being present. We appreciate it.